Pirate from
No,
Caribbean?
I can't stand it anymore. That was the worst. That was the absolute worst introduction of a show I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely horrible. You guys are horrible.
You're
going to walk the plank. Let's go, mateys. This is the Buckos report on the Sports Porch podcast, the first one of the year. And the Buckos, they're now 6-0. The Pirates
5-0.
5-0. Thank you very much.
Soon to be 6-0.
You may not be able to get the record. I may not be able to get the record right, but I can intro the show.
You sure can. I like your jewelry hanging from your hair there.
There it is. 6-0. Pirates are perfect. Pirates are perfect. What do you guys think? You guys think they're good?
No, I don't.
I happen to think they're really, really good.
I do like that Jared Jones guy, though.
Yes, Jared Jones. The Pirates won their fifth in a row to start the season.
A comment from Amy May. Chris has lost it.
Yes.
Yes,
Chris,
he
who's
has.
Chris? Who's
Yes,
Chris?
has.
Do you like my medallion? Who's Chris? This is the time. This is when we strike. This is when the cannonballs fly. This is when the Pirates take over the National League. This is when Jared Jones' chest hair wins the World Series. 6-0. Sorry, 5-0. 5-0 after. Okay, that's enough. I'm tired of that. I can't do it anymore.
You were actually doing well.
I actually think that Jared Jones' hair just might win the World Series.
You think so, guys?
You actually were doing well, and then you just got rid of it.
It was totally. I know it was totally impromptu.
You didn't feel comfortable not being yourself.
No, I don't like the hair. The hair on there and the eye patch was getting to me. But
hey, you got to try some new things every now and then.
Yeah. So I'm going to re-intro the show. Thanks for watching the Sports Porch Pittsburgh. We're on Facebook,
Crafton Jones,
Stella,
LinkedIn, Daily, right? LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Fantasy Alpha's in the house. Thanks for being here, guys. Love it to death.
Alphas.
And we drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And yes, we're going to lead off with Buckos talk. This is my first Buckos talk of the year. And wouldn't you know it, I just couldn't get around to it. And then, of course, you feel like there's nothing to be excited about. And they go 5-0 to start the season. They sweep the Marlins in Miami, a couple comeback wins. Look, it's early. All right, it's early, guys. It's really early.
Is it early?
Yeah, it's really early. And
how many games are there?
I don't think it's too early to get excited about that.
162.
162. But I do have to tell you, there's a huge bright spot right now in this lineup,
and
it's Jared Jones. It's Jared Jones.
Jared Jones.
Absolutely.
Tell the viewers about Jared Jones.
Jared Jones, rookie, comes up, makes the team. He throws over 100 miles an hour.
Consistently.
First game in the major leagues, strikes out 10 in his debut. He looks like an ace, and it's one game, and he's young, but he's got velocity. He's got movement.
He only has 2 pitches.
Was he a first-round pick?
I believe he was a first-round pick.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. Why don't you look that up?
He's definitely one of their higher draft picks in the past 3 years.
Yeah. And tonight, what I do.
By the way, Paul Skeens had a dominating performance in the minor league.
Yeah, he did. And
he still needs to check some boxes.
I'm tired of the Paul Skeens talk, to be honest with you, because it's one of those things where, look, let's just pump the brakes on this guy. Let's see what this team can do. Let's let him get some innings under his belt, and maybe if they're going to bring him up, what I worry about with guys like Paul Skeens,
44th overall
is 44th overall,
so second rounder.
So second round. Okay.
What do you worry about?
I worry about
what keeps you up at night.
I worry about the fact that they'll overuse this guy and depend on him too much. Like, this is not a World Series year. Okay. It's just not.
Could be.
Paul Skeens are you really saying that?
Well, here's why I'm
dream
saying
big.
Here's why. Okay. The last time the Pirates won 4 games in a row on the road to open the season, they made it to the World Series.
1903.
Yeah.
Was it 1903?
Yes. Honus Wagner.
And they had Honus
Good year.
Wagner.
It was a good year.
It was. I remember.
Actually, you want to know the other stat about 1903?
Sure.
The first year of the World Series.
Oh, really?
Boom. Okay.
So 1902 backwards, we don't count it.
That's right. 1902. All right. Nobody counts anything.
That's right.
Okay.
Nothing before that. Right.
Was Cobb then? Was Ty Cobb playing then?
No. Yes, he was.
Yeah,
yes,
Ty
actually
Cobb
he was.
was.
Yes,
So he doesn't count.
Babe Ruth was not.
Yeah, he was not.
Okay.
And DG is in the house. He
What's
says,
up, DG?
He
Good
says,
to see
good
you
morning,
again.
good evening, gentlemen. Mark's back in the saddle. DG, you missed the whole Pirates fiasco.
You didn't see him in the
Yeah, you got to go back and watch from the beginning of the show. It's an homage to you, and it's horrible, but I enjoyed it, and I'm going to bring it back again. All right, so tonight, Connor Joe batting leadoff again. I like that there's a little consistency because when the season started, they had O'Neal Cruz. The rumor was O'Neal Cruz was going to bat first. And I don't know how these rumors get started, but you know what my initial reaction was.
Oh, yeah, you hated that.
No,
you
yeah, he's not
the dumbest thing
he's
about
not a leadoff hitter. He's a number 3, maybe number 5. But, they've had him in the 6 or the 7 spot. And mainly it's because he doesn't hit left-handed pitching that well, and they're starting against 5 straight left-handers, and I hate that game. I don't like it, but I do like the fact that Connor Joe has been leading off, so there's some consistency there. Tonight, Connor Joe was 2 for 4 with a run. Reynolds was 2 for 5. Key Brian Hayes 1 for 5 with a run. Kutch was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Oliveira 0 for 4. Sawinski got in 0-1. I'm going to talk about him. Henry Davis, thank God they gave him the starting catching job.
Yeah.
Let him keep the job. Let him play his way into it.
We said that all last year.
I know. I think he's going to be great.
They had to only because the catcher they wanted to start got injured.
Right. Yeah. But, that's the way it works. They have Cruz now batting 7th, which, because of the left-handed batter situation, I still don't like that. And they're winning games.
Where's Kutch?
Kutch was batting 5th. They had him batting cleanup.
Dumb.
That is dumb. That's agree.
Dumb. He should be the 6th batter.
Here's what I like. Michael Taylor in center field, 3 for 2 with 2 runs. He's batting .471 through 5 games. And Alika Williams.
Doesn't he have like a middle
4.
initial? Like it's like Michael B. Taylor.
Michael N. Taylor, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Stephen
What
A. Taylor.
do you think that Connor Joe is the best 2 first names player in all of baseball?
No.
Who is?
I don't know.
Then you don't know.
No.
I would
Is
just
there a guy
say
named
yes.
Frank Ed? Connor Joe?
That's the only one I know.
Right.
But he's I think he's Korean. So
Ellie Dela Cruz.
is Connor really his first name? I mean,
maybe
how many Koreans or Asian people do you know named Connor?
Maybe he was adopted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's possible.
I'm going with yes.
Oh, here you go. Here's
oh, there you go.
CD Tommy John. That's the best one of all time.
But he no longer plays. So
that's true.
Disqualified. His elbow hurts.
Now here's something I was talking about when we would briefly talk about the Buckos before the season started. Was you have Gonzalez pitching a good solid 5 innings with 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. These are the guys that they picked up that I said have major league experience.
Yeah.
So Martin Perez won a World Series, was on the Rangers. This guy's got your number 2 and 3 starters aren't guys that are just getting their feet wet in the major leagues and haven't been able to prove anything yet.
Right.
These guys are veterans that know how to pitch. They know how to keep you in games. And if they can keep you in games, I think our lineup is better than it was last year. But that's not to say that it's taken leaps and bounds above. It's better because Cruz is back and because you have Henry Davis in the lineup. And I think Shelty has a little bit more leeway to develop a consistent lineup. And I don't like Connor Joe as a leadoff hitter, but if he settles in there, I mean, through 5 games, he's batting .348, small sample size. But if he settles in there and his on-base percentage is good and his average is good and he's getting on base and you move Cruz up in that lineup and your first 5 batters are Joe, Reynolds, Cruz, Sawinski, Hayes, Davis, and then on down, I think you've got the makings of a lineup.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Haven't
I heard this story before?
Sure.
Where the Pirates come out, their hitting is great, their pitching is great, everything's great in the month of April, and then it all falls apart.
Yes, we hear it every year.
What did they start at last year? I think at one point
20-8.
20-8.
And
get closer to Mike.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
You do you. I do me.
No, but we can't hear you. That's the problem. Yeah.
Okay. Now we can hear you.
All right. Am I close enough to the mic now?
Yes. Perfect.
Right.
So
I'm acting like a child. I apologize.
That's all right. I was acting like a pirate earlier, so
true.
you get a little.
Aren't we all children at heart?
Yes. Some of us not even at heart.
Yeah, just outright children.
So
that's true.
So back to the Pirates.
But I mean, this happens to the Pirates every year.
I know.
Why should this year be different? It's not going to be, right? There's no reason to get excited. Or should I just get excited now because the disappointment will come later?
Well, they improved to 5-0 for the first time since 1983. So, we're setting more, we're reaching more milestones. We've won 5 in a row. We're game over Milwaukee, who's 3-0. St. Louis is 1-3. I mean, I think there's a lot of good here.
Yeah, but I mean,
Ratty Telez hit a home run to beat the Marlins.
The Marlins aren't expected to do anything, and neither are the Washington Nationals, right?
This is very true.
So, I mean, we're playing against really crappy teams, but that's okay if we beat the crappy teams. That means we're not the crappiest.
Right.
I say this every year because I at least want to not be at the very bottom. It's bad enough we're at the bottom of the payroll status.
Yes.
Maybe we can at least be somewhere in the middle when it comes to wins. And who knows? Maybe if we're close enough, then we can bring up a real pitcher like Skeens to throw in for one of these jabronis that, you say are major league pitchers that are okay when we really need somebody who can throw at 100 pretty much all the time.
Well, it's less about throwing at 100 and more about throwing at 100 with movement and, on the pitch, and then your changeup is 92.
And that's why I'm worried about Jared Jones, because all he has is a fastball. He doesn't really have a curveball. They say he has a slider, but he doesn't throw it very much, and he only threw 6 curveballs and 80-some pitches. So, I mean, that guy's going to have to work on another pitch if he's going to want to get better after people start, seeing what he is. It's like basically when I was throwing die with my son this weekend. It's a game I've never done before. All the kids play it, right?
Throwing die?
Yeah, throwing die.
Are
you familiar with this?
No.
It's the new beer pong in college.
Okay. Does it involve dice?
It does.
And so they say that is die the plural now for dice?
No, die is you only throw one die at a time.
Right. Okay.
But there are 2 people, so each throw a die. Right?
Okay.
And the basis of the game is you throw it up, it hits off of a table, and it bounces off, you get a point. But you can actually throw it up, and just like beer pong, you can get it into somebody's cup, and then you get 3 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing for the first time, and guess what I did? Boom, right in the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right?
3 points.
So it's just dumb luck. It's the same thing with this Jared Jones. He had a really good outing once. Can he do it time and time again?
Yeah, I think he can.
But I just find it hard that he'll be able to do it with just 2 pitches.
I mean, you have a point there. You do.
And that's the thing that I'm worried about. He's going to have to work on another pitch, and he's going to have to do it in the season. A guy like that, I would rather see him develop another pitch in the minors, then come up if he still has the velocity later in the season.
Right.
I get why they gave him a start, because they needed a 5th starter.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to bring up Skeens.
Well, he earned it.
And he earned it in the preseason. But I just look at his long-term value is suspect.
I think one of the other important things is 2 of the games against the Marlins, the Pirates were down by more than 2 runs, and their bullpen was able to hold the game.
Yeah.
And their bats were able to come back. And I think that overall, my honest opinion on this is that they have a better lineup this year. And
with O'Neill Cruz in there, definitely.
Of course.
Right.
And also, what's his name? Taylor and Alika Williams. And I just, and Jared Triolo making the team. I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Their defenses should be pretty stellar. Their pitching, my biggest concern on the pitching staff is actually Mitch Keller. And we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Because his velocity is down. So I don't know. Did he last year he pitched 190 innings, and the most he had pitched previous to that was 150, and the year before that was 100. So he's jumping 25% every year. Is his arm wearing out? And I don't want to say it is, but his velocity is down, and he didn't pitch that well in the first game of the season. So, we'll see there. Jared Jones, I think has the stuff, and he might be pitching on adrenaline. We'll have to see.
You said last week that he just needs to pitch the ball. He just needs to throw it, right?
He needs to throw strikes.
That's what he was doing,
and that's what he did.
And he struck out some guys. So it's better than going out there and throwing it and guys hitting it over the head.
Well, right, and I love DG's comment here. I'm waiting for Shelton's let's spin the wheel to see who our next leadoff batter will be, and that is the other concern.
Yeah,
the concern
Jari
is that
doesn't know how to manage.
Well, I don't know that it's funny because in the first 2 games of the year, one game went to extra innings, and so they get the ghost runner. And Shelton walks the guy to create a double play. And his management, his moves, his chess moves at the end of the game created the situation, and then the players executed it properly. So I think he managed the first couple games of the year really, really well.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing with Shelton. It's like sometimes you can see what his strategy is and it makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next night you look at the lineup and you go, why in the hell did you change the lineup? It worked last night. You hit 11 runs. You stole 4 bases. The situational baseball was great. And now you're shuffling the lineup so these guys don't know. One of the things I completely disagree with is that we play the first 5 games of the season against left-handers.
Yeah.
Very little Jack Sawinski. I think he started 1 game. And he made a pretty good defensive play in the field.
Yeah.
And then he also bobbled a ball as well. So, I think he is the Pirate right now. Take Cruz out of this because he's already been anointed the next superstar. And we don't even know if that's really going to happen.
He'll hit 30 home runs this year.
But he's definitely capable of it.
Yeah.
But you look at Sawinski, I think he's the guy with the biggest upside on the roster. You know what you've got in Reynolds, okay? He's going to be a 270 to 280 hitter. He's going to get hopefully 20 to 25 home runs. It's going to get somewhere between 75 and maybe 95 RBIs.
He needs more.
Right, he needs more, but you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You don't really know what you're going to get with a lot of the other guys other than Cruz if he can put a whole season together.
Right.
And Sawinski has a huge upside. Let the guy play the guy every day, and I promise you he will learn how to hit curveballs. He will learn how to hit left-handed pitching. What have you got to lose? Okay, what if he got about half the normal at bats of an everyday starter last year and he hit 26 home runs? All right, add another 20 home runs and they were over 500. I mean, it comes down to 1 or 2 moves, and that's what blows my mind. Like, what are you looking for, Shelty? What are you trying to micromanage? Set a lineup, go with it. Trust your pitching staff, trust your bullpen. Bednar got a save last night. I mean, let's just do it. We're 5. I keep saying 6-0. I have no idea why. We're 5-0.
It's confidence.
We're 5-0. Yeah, right. We're going to be 6-0 for sure. And I say you got to take advantage of it. If you start tinkering now, which is why I actually said, okay, fine. We're winning. Connor Joe's hitting the ball. Fine. Just leave him in the leadoff spot. I don't think he's a leadoff hitter, but if he settles in there and he's comfortable, leave him there. Here's
an important question.
Sure. I love important questions, Steve.
How many hot dogs do you think Rowdy has between innings?
4.
You think?
If it was me, I would.
You think he's down in 24 hot dogs in a game?
You mean, do I think he would eat 24 hot dogs during a game?
Yeah, let's say he had an unlimited amount of hot dogs he could eat. How many would he eat? I think, first of all, I think he does have an unlimited amount of hot dogs that he can eat. Yeah.
I'm sure they can eat as much as they want.
I mean, he's not running around the bases. So, I mean, it's not like he has to worry about,
well,
chunking him up on second.
There's always how much does he want to eat and how much can he eat.
Yeah, that's true. Don't we all go through that struggle?
Every damn day. Here you go. Dumb luck, Steve. Maybe it's God-given talent. I think he's talking about the Jerry Jones thing.
No, the God-given talent.
Oh,
no. David, I would say if I went undefeated on the table, I would say yes.
Oh, die talent.
But I went 1-3 and I drank more beer than I should have.
But I was expecting Schwaber to chime in on this game and say, so let me get this straight. You throw a die up in the air and anywhere it lands, you get a point.
That's not true because if you catch it, when it bounces off the table, then nobody gets a point.
But why? Oh, if can anybody catch it?
Anybody on the other side can catch it.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
So it has to go over the middle,
Man,
and then boom.
These drinking games are way too complicated.
It's basic. You throw it up as high as you can. It bounces off the table. If the other team catches it, no points.
Okay.
If it bounces off the table and hits the ground,
1 point.
1 point.
Now I get it.
For the thrower.
Yeah.
There are complications.
I like the old style drinking games, which was open a beer, drink it.
Oh, you can just stand there and drink.
Quarters.
Nobody,
That's what we played.
Nobody's going to stop you from drinking.
Yeah. Nobody's going to stop you. Lots
and
to
actually,
be.
quarters could get difficult. Actually.
Yeah. Well, remember what was that game with quarters where it was like fast quarters?
Mhm.
Yeah. Chase. I think
Chase. They called it Chase. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. CD says lots to be said for stability and support for young players. Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree. I say back off of Skeens. I say that even in May, I mean, I was listening to the fan. They're like, let them. They don't play any divisional opponents for real until May. So let's wait till May. They only play the Brewers in April.
Yeah.
Listen, why don't we just let Paul Skeens?
Well, look, Paul Skeens is going to be down until he earns that extra year of protection.
Right.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and we've talked about that.
So he'll be up when that expires. He'll be up in a month and a half or 2 months or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that might actually be May, I think, is when it is.
And, I'm sure it'll be fine for him.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
You're really, you are sporting a beard this week. We did challenge you to grow the beard.
Yes, and I grew it.
We'll get to that.
I heard you were pretty angry about my comments about your facial hair.
Well, it just shocked me that, I've had a goatee for like 25 years, yet you didn't seem to notice.
But it wasn't like a full goatee. It's always just kind of like, if you get the razor and you kind of shave it down to the small.
Yeah, I do a nicely formed.
See, I don't really see that as facial hair. I just see
so
it's laziness.
Not laziness. No, I got to groom it. Laziness is
wait a minute. You've got to groom that.
No,
not this. When I do the nice goatee, I got to groom it.
No, all you have to do is get the electric razor out and just go like this when it gets too long, and that's it. There's no effort there.
There is effort. I don't use the razor. I use scissors.
Ooh, hand trim.
Yes, hand trim.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Okay.
Hand trimming a goatee is work.
Yes.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for watching the Sports Porch on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, all over the world. And of course, we drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts, matey. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe and leave a review. Next, I want to ask Steve a question here. And I'm typing this in because I just wait until the last minute to do things.
Here comes the question, people.
I want to know if you think that Cordarrelle Patterson will make a difference. Wait a minute. Amy May says it was a great goatee when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why was it a great goatee, Amy May?
Sexy.
Did it tickle your fancy?
It sure did tickle her fancy.
It was sexy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Will Cordarrelle Patterson make a difference? The reason I ask this is because he's one of the like great utility players.
Did you guys talk about this last week? The kickoff change?
No, because it happened after.
It happened right after the kickoff.
Yeah, we talked about the hip
drop. It happened on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We did talk about the hip drop tackle.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Update women's hoops. LSU 38, Iowa 34, about 5 minutes till half. Thank you. We have that in the background.
Caitlin Clark's will surge in the second half.
So Cordarrelle Patterson.
Yeah, I think it's going to make a difference because really, I'll be surprised if there's. I think there's going to be a really low amount of touchbacks this year.
Yep, I agree.
Because
nobody wants to start on the 30. The other teams start on the 35.
You don't want to give them ball on the 35. So if you're not following at home, it's changed now. You don't get the ball at the 25 on a touchback. You get it at the 35.
Right.
And then what you have is between the goal line and the 20-yard line is called the landing zone.
Mm.
So you're basically encouraging the kickers to basically kick it within the 10-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go down and make the tackle. Now the guys are lining up. Instead of lining up at the opposing 35, they're now lining up at the 45 of the other half of the field.
It's the 40.
The 40
yard line and the 30-yard line.
Okay, the 40-yard line and the 30-yard line.
Only 10 yards apart.
Yeah, so there's, and that's obviously to prevent, high impact speed collisions.
Right.
So I think you're going to have a lot of returns. And so going out and getting a returner, an elite returner, is a good move.
And that's something the Steelers haven't had for a while.
Right. They've had guys who have the ability to break one.
Right.
But just not really consistently.
And the thing about Patterson is that he's also a great guy to bring in special packages in the offense. He can play receiver.
Yeah,
he can run the ball.
He's the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
He's a great third down back, which
Mm-hmm.
they don't really have right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they can bring him in, and he can still run in the third down too. So
Mm-hmm.
I that's why I like it. I don't like it just for the fact that they need somebody to return now, because I think Calvin Austin III probably could have done okay, but I'd like having a veteran guy back there because it's going to be new for everybody. So if you can take advantage of it right away. And I don't know what their special teams blocking schemes are going to be regarding this.
Right.
If they're going to go to one side, or they're just going to let Cordarrelle find a seam and say go for it. I have no idea, but it's going to be different for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to the weird thing is the kicker's going to be standing all
Right,
alone,
right, right.
That's going to be the weird spot, and it's really going to be interesting to see what the kickers do. Are they going to try and kick it up high? But that doesn't really matter because nobody can move until
it's caught. Yeah.
So in some ways, it might be better to kick it on a line drive, because if it hits in the 20 and it rolls into the end zone, I think it's a different spotting. It's a different spot that you get it in.
I don't think so. I think if it goes through the end zone, it's still a touchback.
No, but if it lands in the landing zone, but you don't catch it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a different spot. Like you don't get it at the 35. I think you can get it at like the 30 or something like that.
Well,
Here
I'm
you
not
go.
sure about that.
Under the new rules, the kicking team's kicker will continue to kick from the 35-yard line, but rather than be flanked by his teammates, the rest of the kicking team will line up at their opponent's 40-yard line,
right.
Eliminated the traditional running start. I'm looking for the I don't want to pay $30 a month for this. This week's annual meeting, blah, 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 blah. Eliminating the traditional running at start. The returning team will field up to 2 returners in the backfield.
2, right.
And the rest of the team will line up in a new setup zone between the 30 and 35-yard line. Besides the kicker and returners, no players from either side will be allowed to move until a returner touches the ball or the ball hits the ground. Fair catches.
So far, everything you've said, we've said.
You can't fair catch it. They're illegal now. We know that.
Yep.
Yeah. So
we just don't know what happens if it lands in the landing zone and they don't catch it.
Yeah, here you go. When a kicker boots the ball into the end zone, the opposing team's returner can choose to kneel rather than attempt a return. The result is called a touchback at the 25-yard line. Under the new rule, touchbacks will now be placed at the 30. A touchback occurs automatically if the ball sails out of the back of the end zone entirely. So if they kick it all the way out, you just get to the 30-yard line. That's about all they're saying here.
So it's the 30, not the 30.
Oh,
yeah.
But still, I still think they're gonna be a lot of returns.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because if you can field it at the 20,
right,
you figure you can get past the 30.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and you've got and you basically have a line up there that's not running right at you.
Yeah. I mean, the idea should be to kick it within the 5-yard line. That's what you want your guys to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because then they have to return it.
Right. They have to return it, and hopefully you can get them before the 25.
Yeah. Yeah. But what makes it exciting is that you can't move until he catches it.
Right.
As opposed to, so now you've got blockers that are lined up in front of you.
You know what?
Yeah, it's going to be more exciting.
And there's going to be a bunch of offside penalties on it.
You think so?
Yeah, because you're going to get an offside if somebody leaves before it was caught.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. And you have to declare if you want to do an onside kick.
Right.
Do we need anything more to confuse these referees? I mean, seriously. I mean, the last couple of years with all the rule changes, there were many times where I felt like the referees were standing around after a call going, I don't know, you tell me what the rule is. No, you get out the rule book, and then it's like they make this, and then the announcers are like, well, that was the wrong call. So, I mean, I like the move.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you have to request a traditional onside kick?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
you
request it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can still do the traditional kick if you want?
No, traditional onside.
Onside kick.
Oh, you have to request
Because
it.
you
Never
can't
mind.
have an
Okay.
onside kick in this format.
I still have
Right.
a pirate in my
Right.
head. I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
I personally
We're helping you.
liked the I'm sure they only wanted to handle one thing at a time, but I like the doing away with the onside kick and the having the either the 4th and 15 or
I
4th
love
and
that
20.
idea. Yeah, the 4th and 20 at the
Yeah.
40.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get it, then
Right.
then you keep the ball. If you don't,
Right.
then the other team gets it.
Yeah, that's a more exciting play.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Definitely a more
Mhm.
exciting play.
And you're putting your best players out there to make it,
Right.
not some damn kicker with
Right.
some luck, the way
Right.
it bounces.
York, PA is in the house. Jeff, what's up? If it's really windy and the kicker needs someone to hold the ball on the tee, that could be an advantage for the returning team too.
Well, maybe they'll allow them to have a special tee that will hold it for them.
Maybe you could.
Because they have those little things.
Yeah.
That actually is an interesting point. I don't know if that's been addressed.
Yeah.
They'll just allow one person to be back there, I guess.
I don't know. That is
What do you mean? If the kicker, if the guy's got to hold it, they're only going to allow him to have one returner, so that they can cover. They can. I'm not
I mean, I
following
think instead of that guy, one guy is not going to line up at the 40. It's going to be back with the kicker.
It's just another reason why every team should have a dome.
Right.
Okay. I'm still okay. All right. Should have left it alone, in my opinion.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Jeff.
that's what Jeff says.
You're just an old fuddy duddy.
Well, we kind of talked about. Did we talk about this last week? Where I said it seems like every year now the NFL is switching rules like crazy, and
they want to stay relevant.
Of course they do, but I think they're relevant already. You know?
They want to stay relevant. You don't stay relevant by staying the same.
Right.
You just get old and stodgy.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very
Right.
much.
But some things work out better than others. The whole not allowing everybody to be on one side made the getting an onside kick almost impossible.
And the
Right.
game was more fun when there were kickoff returns for touchdowns.
That's
Right.
true.
Even
Yeah.
it
right.
only happened like 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. DG says the person who holds leaves immediately once kicked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe
there you
that's
go.
allowable.
Why, thank you, Dave.
I mean, you also
And Jeff says he's old and stodgy.
Yeah,
So.
so are we.
You
So
could have
we
al-
understand.
you could have also accomplished the same thing just by leaving everything the same and just moving the ball back 10 yards.
Yep. Rayanne says, hello, everyone. Born 40 miles north of Pittsburgh. What's going on? Well,
Hey, Rayanne.
Rayanne,
Well, you
hopefully
made it to the porch.
you can
What's up,
watch and
Rayanne?
figure it out.
Rayanne.
Uh,
Turn on the
You
red
don't have to put on the red light.
Rayanne! How was that?
That was,
Okay.
we were all
went
bad.
for it. You
we
went
were
for
actually
it.
all
Yeah, I
bad.
did.
And
Yeah, all bad.
I failed completely.
But thanks for joining, Rayanne.
Yeah, we're super glad you're
Rayanne,
here.
whenever you come in, that's what we're gonna.
That's right.
How we're gonna introduce.
Rayanne. Okay. I want to remind you, if you haven't figured it out, and if Rayanne hasn't figured it out, you're watching the Sports Porch Pittsburgh on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and somewhere else.
Not Insta. What
not
is going
Insta.
on with the Instagram?
There is an API issue with their connection to StreamYard, and there's
Come
nothing
on,
I can do. About it.
StreamYard.
There's nothing I can do about it.
I know StreamYard's going to get it together, though. I have confidence in them.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's a good platform.
All right. I have confidence in them too. And we're going to drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts.
All righty.
Is it that time?
Is it time to bring in the Holy Spirit? Amen.
Hockey Jesus. Hockey Jesus. We are proud
Peace be with you.
to have Hockey Jesus, who preaches
also
on the
with you.
podcast after every single Penguins game. You can catch that on the Sports Porch podcast. He's doing a great job. And of course, go to the YouTube channel. It's at the Sports Porch podcast on YouTube. I'll drop a link in the comments shortly. After every single game, he gives you his analysis. And it's not going to end with the Penguin season if the Penguin season ends. Jeff,
I like it.
okay. All right, I'll sing you happy birthday soon, Jeff. We'll do that.
No.
I don't want to be there for
the
it.
one thing I have to say is last week you told me you were going to shave that beard.
Well,
And
there's been a change
I know.
of heart.
I know. Now you're thinking the Pens have a shot.
Well, I've changed my thinking on the beard. The beard is not actually going to be shaved until they are officially eliminated from the playoffs.
Okay. What about you, Schwaber? Are you going playoff beard for the Flyers?
No, I actually have to look presentable for work.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You work out of your house.
I visit clients at their places of work. You fool.
Mark, you can look presentable with the beard. Just keep the hand trimming.
Yeah, come on. It actually grows in a little fuller than I thought. I thought it would be patchy.
Oh no, he could grow a full beard.
I'd like to see that.
I can grow a full beard.
Oh, yeah,
I'd like to see that.
I'll consider it if the team that I root for,
the Flyers.
It's okay to mention the Flyers.
Yeah, if they make the playoffs, I'll consider a playoff beard.
Okay.
Because I probably won't have to wear it for more than a week.
Well, all right, Rayanne, go Penguins, go Steelers. DG, good call for the beard, Papa Smurf. So yeah, why are you having such a change of heart? Because 2 weeks ago you were like, they're out of it.
They are out of it.
Okay.
But they're not officially out of it. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between there's no way in hell they're going to win 4 more games than the teams above them, like the Flyers or the Capitals, because that's what they would need to do in order to make the playoffs.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen with 9 games left. And I know they're winning tonight. They're beating the Rangers 2-0 and look actually
pulling it
pretty
up right
good.
Now, yeah.
Look pretty good in the first period, to be honest with you. And they got a break because they actually checked the second goal out, and it was onside. It was really close, by the way. The skate blade was like barely over the blue line. Anyway, so even if they do win tonight, dude, they have to win 4 more games out of 7 games left. They would essentially have to win all 7 games. And I just don't see that happening from the Penguins. Now, beating the Rangers in New York would be good, but they still have to beat the Devils on the road. Then they have to go beat the Capitals on the road, who that actually would be a huge game.
Right.
Because they got to that point.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And let's face it, they've wasted so many opportunities like this past week. They had Columbus down 3-1 in the third period and ended up losing that 4-3. They get a loser point out of that game. It was the same thing that happened in Colorado, the same thing that happened in Vegas earlier in the season, where they had this great lead in the third period and they just blow it. And that's the problem with the Penguins. The other teams are actually letting them in. Like the Flyers have lost 4 in a row. They're winning tonight, by the way. And the Devils are just as bad. The only team that surged, the Penguins should be, are the freaking Capitals. And you know why? Because last year they decided to go with the youth movement. And actually, I think some of the new youth that's come up, Puustinen, Jack St. Ivany, and Ludwig, who's played on and off. I love these guys. I think they're going to be great. And I just hope that they give them the chance that they gave Drew O'Connor this year. Drew O'Connor has 10 or 11 goals. Now he's on the first line, thanks, the Gensel getting traded. Bunning's not playing tonight because he got ill. And honestly, they've been playing Ned lately, and he's a much better, more well-rounded goalie than Jari is. And I think if there was any value of goalies in the trade deadline this year, I think Jari would have been gone. I think they've lost all faith in Jari. And I have personally. I think that Ned's a much better goalie for them.
Okay.
And I, he probably shouldn't be playing tonight because this is his 5th game in a row, first time ever. He's gonna get tired. So they're gonna need Jari to come in and steal some games, but I'm not confident that he can do it. Look, Jari at the end of the season every year just plays like crap. He's a great regular season goalie, and this year he's not been that great. Minus, when was the last time you heard he had a shutout? Remember, he used to lead the league in the shutouts?
Yeah.
He hasn't had one in like 6 weeks.
What about DG's comment here? I saw something about Jake discussing his trade, possibly burning bridges. What's that about? Have you heard anything?
I think Jake was disappointed that the Penguins didn't give him what he wanted. And really, I think that's what it's about.
Gotcha.
And I think he wanted more than the Penguins could afford.
It doesn't mean they won't give him what he wants next year if he wants to come back.
No, I think he's gone. I really do think he's gone. That doesn't mean guaranteed. I mean, you have to be able to move a guy like Raquel if you're gonna bring back Jake. You got to move a $4 or $6 million contract, and they still have to sign Patterson next year. and they probably should. Even though I do like St. Ivan and Ludwig playing together, I think they should play together all next year. POJ showed some pretty good. Has had a pretty good year. I was hard on him last year. I just wanted him to cut him, but this year he's really he's got more physical. His offense still isn't good enough, but I think they can work on that.
What about Mike here? Does
Absolutely.
Crosby have a chance to beat Gretzky's point record or whatever? I don't know what the whatever part of that is.
So he needed 6 points coming into tonight to get to 82 points. 82 points would give him a point per game. And that actually, he would tie Gretzky's point record at that point.
I did not realize he was having that good of a season. Doesn't that sound low?
Well, I mean, it's not really. I mean, anybody who scores a point a game is an all-star caliber player.
Good. Yeah. No, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I did not, I would have thought. So what you're saying is, and you just have to bear with me here because I'm still a hockey novice when it comes to this stuff. What
Rangers got a power play goal.
What is
their power play?
They're talking about an average of a point per game or an actual point per game.
No, an actual point per game or more. That's what
a point is a goal or
an assist. I know that, but so really Gretzky.
Oh, they waved the goal. Nice.
What's Gretzky's record? 82 points.
Loser.
No. He's saying
consecutive
seasons of being at a point per game.
I think
that makes more sense to me. I get it.
I apologize. I should know that. I should know it, but I think it's 14 seasons.
14 seasons or something in a row where he's averaged
the point per game.
I get it.
And next year he could break the record.
Explain if Carolina wins the cup, what happens due to Carlson trade? That's what DG wants to know.
Oh, if Carolina actually makes the final. No, that's the Jake trade. I think some things conflated. With the Carolina, if they make it to the finals, then the Jake pick goes to a number 1 pick.
Okay.
But the Carlson trade is interesting because they've got to give up a first round pick to San Jose. But if they end up in the top 10 slots, they can not give them their number 1 pick and keep it if they want to. Or which means that next year San Jose will get their number 1 pick no matter what.
All right. Well, that sounds a little convoluted to me.
Well, it is, but basically they said, look, if we suck so bad with Carlson, we don't want to give you our top 10 pick.
Right.
Gotcha.
We reserve the right to keep that pick, and then you'll get our 2025 pick instead.
Understood.
That's it. Yeah.
Understood. All right.
Yeah. So there are two things kind of going on there, David. One is
that's all right, DG.
One is the Gensel trade, and the other one is the Carlson trade.
Yeah. DG's just so focused on the attractiveness of your beard that he can't think straight right now. Don't you think he looks good with the beard?
That happens to a lot of women.
Sure.
Seriously. DG's a woman?
And men.
Okay.
I said and men.
All right.
I just wanted to get the women out.
Look, Sassy's trying to eat my Pirates costume.
I think she wants to wear it. I think maybe that's.
We could have some fun with that.
Oh, by the way, the Rangers goal was waved off.
All right.
Goalie interference.
Let's go Pens. Let's go Pens.
That's what the Rangers have to do. They have to cheat to get
goalie interference.
You've been very quiet this show, Schwaber. For being on vacation for a week, and we made fun of you the whole time. I'm interested in what your thoughts are on the state of Pittsburgh sports in general. Line it up for me. Tell me what you think the rest of this year is going to bear out. Give me the Steelers, the Pirates, and the Pens in 3 sentences. We're just trying to get you back into the show here.
The Pirates will combust and be close, probably be around 95 losses. The Penguins, it'll be an unfortunate ending. 2 years not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Steelers are the team that gives you hope.
There you go. In a nutshell.
I think that's exactly right. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think I like the word combust.
But
I didn't say combust.
I think
you said the Pirates will combust.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the interesting thing with the Penguins will be, where will they end up? Will they end up with a top 10 pick? My guess is they'll probably end up at like 10 or 11. So then do you give up that pick and just give it to San Jose this year? You probably do if it's an 11 or 12 pick.
Probably, yeah.
I mean,
I think so. You just get it out of the way.
I guess you don't figure next year you're going to get better. I mean, Gino's not suddenly going to get faster or shoot the puck better. He's just going to get worse, and he's always going to be on that second line.
I mean,
by the way, that's the big problem with the Penguins. You can talk about Letang's meltdown in Columbus, and it was awful.
You talked about that.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I've always had a lot of respect for him as a great player, and he's had several meltdowns this year. Yeah. I mean, he's like giving the puck away late in the third constantly.
Everybody forgets because the new squeaky toy is just to yell at Carlson because, he's the new guy.
Right.
Letang does this every year.
Yeah.
People used to, that's why they didn't want to sign him. He makes too many mistakes, but at least he makes up for it with some flashy play. And he usually does. He usually does make up for it. But those two plays, and honestly, it's the power play. The power play is absolutely cursed. And the shorthanded goals, they can't get out of their own head. At some point, they're going to have to just get some cold water and just pour it over themselves and start fresh.
So what I think is great is Hockey Jesus. You nailed it from day one of the season. You've talked about the power play since before the season started.
Yeah, I knew it would be the make or break.
You talked about Carlson coming in on the power play, and if he could add to it, it would be the difference. And he didn't. And look where they are. And
I thought by now they'd get it together because I didn't really think in the first half of the season they would get it together.
No, you were right.
I figured by the second half of the season they would have some kind of chemistry, but there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
So then you have to think, okay, in the offseason, do you want to let him go? But then that means you got to suck up probably $2.5 million of his contract to be able to somebody to be able to afford it.
I think you
don't want to do that.
We thought last year was going to be one of the most interesting years in Penguins off-season history in a while because they were obviously Hextall was gone. They brought in Dubas, but I think this year is going to be one of not only the most interesting, but one of the most pivotal. Because you've got aging stars, and Crosby. I mean, God bless him, man. To be on pace to possibly tie or break Gretzky's consecutive points record streak, still playing at a high level like that.
Sure.
But then you have Letang. Malkin to me is he's an old bus and he's missing a tire. I mean,
he's missing 2 tires.
Right. So
the other 2 are bald.
How are you going to replace that? He's got a no trade clause. Will he retire? Which you're almost positive he won't. He's not ready to.
No.
Would he waive a no trade clause to maybe go to a team that's in better shape? Who knows? I mean, there's just so many things that could happen now in the offseason with the Penguins, and this team could look completely different sans Crosby and Letang next year.
I'm kind of hoping they just kind of keep things the same, honestly.
Yeah.
Just bring up youth next year.
Yeah, I know you've been singing that song on Hockey Jesus for weeks.
Because I think this team has had so much change, and I told you, I still believe that COVID killed these Penguins. I think since COVID, this change. I looked at I listed the names of players that have come and gone since then. I stopped writing at 25 names.
Yeah,
that's just too much turnover.
Yeah. Well, Rutherford quit in the middle of the season.
They got to pick a lane and stay in it. If Carlson's the guy, just say we're going to make this work. We're going, and if that means a coaching change or bringing in somebody who's a specialist that Carlson likes,
right?
That's what we're going to do. We're going to make the power play. We're going to make the power play work. And I think if they can do that in the offseason, they can get back because they have to bring in some youth. That's what worked with Washington. That's why they're in a playoff position now. They've got more energy, and they're probably going to make the playoffs. By the way, they'll probably lose in the first round, but they'll at least make the playoffs.
So next Hockey Jesus, are we going to get one tonight?
You'll get one tonight.
I can't wait. So, hey, you can look forward to a Hockey Jesus podcast after the Penguins game tonight, after the Sports Porch podcast. I'm going to encourage you to go to YouTube to watch that, and let me pull up. I'm going to pull up our...
Can we get a happy Easter from Jesus?
Oh, yeah. I gave you a big happy Easter. I even waited until Sunday to do my podcast.
He is risen.
Because I had to arrive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was.
You couldn't do it from the grave.
I listened. Correct. I know. I listened to it, and I was laughing.
And now that I'm arisen, it's a whole new season.
Oh, good Lord! So blasphemous. So blasphemous.
Oh, come on! It's all in good fun.
All right. So you can look forward to the next Hockey Jesus podcast after the game this evening. It'll be a secondary thing. And I'm actually going to drop the link to the Sports Porch podcast on YouTube in the comments right here, right now. I want you guys just to hang on a second because I am the technical director. But there it is. Subscribe to the Sports Porch on YouTube. Leave comments. Enjoy the Hockey Jesus. Rayanne says, I got to go, guys. Nice seeing you. I'll stop back again. Great job. Is it always Pittsburgh sports teams? Mostly.
Yes,
I love the Steelers, especially when they won all those Super Bowls back in the day. Great parties. Sounds like she went to some parties.
Hey, well, Roseanne. Come back and tell us one of the stories.
Tell us a story, Roseanne.
The real question, DG says. The real question, DG says, is will we hear the theme song intro with the Hockey Jesus? Yeah, what's going on with the music?
I don't know what's going on with the music. I can't figure it out.
Well, can you hear it?
I can hear it. Do
you have it down really low?
It's at 20.
Huh.
I'll tell you what, David. Tonight I'm going to crank it up to 40.
Yeah, and just give it time. Yeah, don't start talking until later, and then
I think we got some new theme music though coming.
I think right? I think you're right. I think we do. It's time for our next segment.
And it is.
It is.
Well,
I'm waiting for the music.
What's the name of the next segment?
Well, the name of the next segment is the Trader Joe's product of the week.
Of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. To get that honey sauce on me, I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wing.
Yeah.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Wow. Yeah, we're having fun now.
There you go. All right, guys, listen. Now I have to admit, we came up with this right before the show started. Mark showed us this video and I said, that's it. That's the intro. You guys know I work at Trader Joe's in East Liberty in Pittsburgh. It's a fantastic place to work. I love it there. It's also a great store, just a great vibe. Love the food, love the people. I do have to say Trader Joe's is not in any way endorsing this or sponsoring this.
They know better.
But I did get the okay from them to talk about their products that I love. And the way we're going to do is we're going to have a little fun. You all know they have a lot of like regular stuff. Like you can buy eggs there. You can buy cheese there.
Just bring out the food. I'm sorry.
But they also have some stuff you can't get anywhere else. And they scour the world for this stuff. And I find it fascinating. So I asked the guy, Brenton, who works at the store, I asked him, tell me what a good product for this segment would be. And he said, oh, I got the product for you right now.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
This is what he gave me.
Family food, or
he gave me. This is, and you can read it down in the ticker. Trader Joe's trail mix crackers with mung beans, seeds, cashews, raisins, and cheese. And of course,
what are mung beans?
I knew that was coming.
Mung beans?
Who?
Creed on The Office.
Really?
Can you tell me what a mung bean is?
I'm going to right now. Mung beans are small green beans that belong to the legume family.
The legumes.
They have a slightly sweet taste and are sold fresh as sprouts or as dried beans, and apparently in trail mix.
I was thinking legumes.
Mung beans are a type of pulse, which means they are an edible seed of the legume plant family. They are nutritionally balanced and contain vitamins, minerals, and beneficial enzymes, which for guys our age are good. Maybe that's probiotics.
What happens if you smoke mung beans?
I have no idea, but maybe we could try that too, which makes them an excellent part of a healthful diet. Mung beans are native to India and are widely cultivated in Asia for use in a variety of sweet and savory dishes. So here we go. Let's
I can't believe you don't already have it open.
I like the way you don't have it open. You know, basking, giving us that freshness.
Well, let's do it. There you go.
Whoops, that was a horrible opening. Now you got to put it in like a plastic zippy bag because you screwed it up.
I did. I know. And DG says not to be confused with dung beans. And I'm not even going to ask.
I'm not ever eating
where
a dung bean.
that comes from. Yes. So, but he does live in somewhere in Florida.
Pasta cracker.
All right. So we're all going to try. Now, here's what Brenton told me. He said
pasta ducci.
He got a friend of his addicted to these because it's one of those things where you're like, what? They put that in a cracker and you eat it. And I just want you guys to tell me what you think.
Huh.
Wow.
There's got a little sweetness to it.
That's the raisins. He was right.
I think
pretty
it's got
good,
some-
actually.
I think it's
Yeah.
got some honey in it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I don't like things too sweet, so it's definitely not too sweet.
Yeah. I'm reading the ingredients here to see
Tasting
if
the
there's honey.
biscuit.
I don't see any. Yeah. It happens to be kind of like a biscuit, but
Actually, you could eat this with like a little bit of peanut butter.
well, you want to know what?
or even some honey. You could even like dip it in. Some
It's funny you should say that, Steve,
Apple
because I
butter.
brought down a little bit of Trader Joe's creamy no stir peanut butter spread.
Nah, I'm not interested in Trader Joe's. I like the oh man,
I think this is really good.
this is
Yeah,
good.
here, have
This is
another
good.
Have another one.
Not as good as this hockey game though. This hockey game's
I'll tell you what. He
By
was
the way,
right.
what's going on with the Iowa game?
Wonder if people could vape mung beans.
I was up by 3 in the second half.
You want to try it with a little peanut butter?
I'm not a peanut butter guy.
You're not a peanut butter guy?
Mm-mm. No,
I'm a peanut butter guy.
only in the Reese's.
In the Reese's?
Oh, Reese's
butter
peanut
cup.
butter cup.
You mean Reese's?
Reese's.
Is it Reese's or Reese's?
Reese's.
Let's
I
try it
don't
with some
know.
peanut butter.
Let's ask the resident
Mm.
Hershey man himself, Mr. CD.
I'll tell
Is
you
it
what.
Reese's or Reese's?
I'm going to eat this whole thing.
Mm, that's
Amy
good.
said that's her favorite peanut butter.
It
Wow.
is. We got a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You buy it
Mhm.
by the case.
No.
Good. Sassy likes peanut butter. I'm going to let Sassy have this peanut butter here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a good. That's a good biscuit.
Yep. All right. Let's give this a.
Let's give it a grade. Would
Yeah, let's-
would you buy it, Mark?
I would buy it.
I would
Mhm.
buy it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give it an A.
Yeah. I'm going to have more of these. DG says, are they better than last week's peanut butter pretzels?
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're better than the pretzels.
Yeah.
The one thing about the pretzels that these aren't, the pretzels got a little dry for me, but these are definitely not dry.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think you can really compare them to the pretzels, to be
No,
honest. with you.
it's a different snack, but I would say of the two, I would buy these over the
That's a
pretzels.
damn good cracker.
It is.
If
yeah.
Mhm.
if I had to pick one, I would pick the cracker over the peanut butter.
Yeah. So there you have it. There is our Trader Joe's product of the week.
It's a good healthy snack.
It is a good healthy snack.
No,
And
it's
I'll tell
not
you what,
healthy.
Brenton, that was a winner. He was right on.
Is it healthy?
I think it's healthy.
What
Yeah.
are the stats?
Look at the back.
How many
Uh,
saturated fats?
How
How many
many can you have?
crackers can I have?
How many can you have for
in
170
two and a
calories?
half grams, and 4 crackers for 170 calories.
That's a
bad.
lot of calories.
2 grams
Not
of
bad.
fiber, which all 3 of us need desperately.
4 crackers for 170. That's a lot of calories.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
5
it is
grams
low
of
fat.
Any
protein,
cholesterol?
0 cholesterol,
Yeah. Any
Nine-
sodium?
95 milligrams, 4%, 4%
Nah,
for 4
that's-
crackers.
that's-
Yeah,
no,
it's
no.
1% a cracker.
I'm just a little worried about the calories. I think it's because all the sesame's in it.
They even-
Sesames are really high.
They even have a little diagram here that explains what everything is. Black sesame seeds, raisins, mung beans, cashew, white set. I mean, look at that.
If you work in a hospital though, and you shouldn't
That's
eat this
incredible.
before a drug test.
Yep.
yeah,
Sesame seeds.
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of sesame seeds.
Well, I probably
No,
just
it's
shouldn't take a
poppy
drug
seeds.
test, but whatever.
It's poppy seeds.
It is poppy seeds. You're right. So,
Oh, right.
You're good.
all right, I got
Sesame seeds.
one more thing I got to do here.
What's that?
I'm sorry.
Happy birthday to you. It's for
Oh,
Jeff.
thank you.
Happy
Oh, I thought
birthday.
you were- I was
no,
my
your
birthday
birthday's
last week.
over. To you.
I don't understand. What does Jeff have to do with our show?
Happy.
Just
He
listen.
asked me to sing happy birthday to him.
He's a
Happy
listener.
birthday, Jeff Paulus. I loved your Scirocco. Happy birthday to
You want to hear something that I thought was
You.
pathetic, birthday wise?
Besides that song,
When I was in Florida with my family,
here we go.
and we were at
Family stories.
a restaurant, the club.
Mhm.
with
Okay.
the club with the buffet.
Yeah, the club.
Nice.
They had a cake with my name on it.
Very nice.
Oh my god.
So it
That's
said
good.
so it said my name.
Wait, did they spell
And
it?
instead of they did not spell it right.
Yeah,
But instead of going happy birthday dear Mark, they went Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Oh.
You couldn't look at the frickin' cake to figure out what my name was. It's right in front of all of us.
And this is a posh club in Delray Beach.
Did it have a sparkler on it?
It actually did not.
Any candles? Did it have all 54 candles?
There was one candle on
That's it?
One candle.
That's all the breath they thought you could get out?
It was pretty weak. It was pretty weak. I mean,
Seriously?
Yeah, I just was not that impressed.
Did you blow it out right away, or was it a trick candle?
I blew it out right away.
Yeah. What kind of cake was it?
It was an Oreo ice cream cake.
Oh, well.
How old are you?
That sounds good.
I don't know.
Did you request that?
No, they asked my wife what I liked, and that's what she said.
Now we're getting to the bottom of things here.
I think an Oreo ice cream cake is appropriate.
Hey, Amy, what kind of cake would Mark like? Oh, he loves Oreo ice cream cakes. We go to Dairy Queen all the time, and we get him Oreo ice cream
You
cakes.
make it sound like she's from New York or something.
She sounds like she's
not.
She sounds like she's from New York. Thanks, buddy. I still have that car, says Jeff. Jeff has the coolest gold Scirocco you'll ever see in your life, as if there is a cool Scirocco.
You mean that
you know what a Scirocco is?
We'll never see. Yeah, it's a Volkswagen.
Well, I know you know, but do you know what a Scirocco is?
Volkswagen.
Of course you know now.
Dumbass.
All right, I think we've had enough of this for one night.
Is it over?
It isn't so.
Yeah.
No, you can't
say it isn't so.
I can't
It
believe
isn't
it.
so. Come on, give us some Hall & Oates, Schwaber.
Say it isn't so.
I'm not saying Hall & Oates.
Come on.
You can be John Hall. I'll be Adam Oates.
Honey on your biscuit.
Friday night, we're watching you. Cause of your every move.
Friday night. All right, have a great week, guys.
Friday night.
Watching you.
All right. Thank you for watching the Sports Porch Pittsburgh all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and of course, we drop the podcast so you can listen to it right after the show. The iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get the freaking podcast. I am your technical director, and I am out. Let's go, Bucks!
Yeah.